Man, watching the old wrestling pay-per-view got your boy thinking a little bit too much about the importance of the look, all right? Let me put it to you this way so everyone can understand, even the slow kids in the back. The hater has a friend who coaches soccer. He coaches soccer for little kids. So he invites me to go hang out, and I go watch this little soccer game, right? And I see these little kids playing soccer. And all I could think about the entire time was if Erling Haaland were here, he would body all these kids and score about 300 goals in one half, all right? Then you go to the fucking park or something, right? You see a bunch of people playing pickup basketball. And you can't help but think that if LeBron James or SGA or Jokic were there, they would drop 150 points on all of these nobodies, right? And then you realize that that's why sports sell. Nobody is interested in seeing the little guy against the little guy, especially in a fake sport. Big men and sexy women sell tickets. That's the formula. Deal with it, cuckolds. Now, on your screen, you see Batista spine-bustering The Big Show, okay? The Big Show is obviously a very, very large and girthy individual, whereas Batista is also a very, very large, not as girthy, but very large and strong individual. It's as simple as that. That's what people want to see. Nobody wants to see vanilla midgets like Cucky Rhodes, like Carmelo Hayes, like Ilya Dragunov, like Javon Evans. Nobody wants to see these guys. People will settle for them if there's nothing else on. But believe you me, if the Big Show debuted tomorrow, I know what you're all thinking. He can't wrestle. He can't. He would be the biggest star in wrestling today. We haven't seen anything like that in a while. You need a mixture of personality, but you also need size. Size matters, all right? In order for wrestling to be entertaining to the masses, size matters. Now, I know some of you jabrones are thinking to yourselves, well, I prefer when Shota Otami or whatever his name is wrestles like Keisuke Honda, which is actually a soccer player, but it's the only Japanese name I can think of right now. You know, nobody cares about any of that, right? People want big, strong guys, right, to go and beat the shit out of each other. It's far more impressive when Batista spine-busters The Big Show than it is when, for example, Dragon Lee does a springboard DDT. Nobody cares about the springboard DDT if all you see is springboard DDTs. If you saw other things once in a while, then maybe yes. If everyone was doing scoop slams, then a swanton bomb looks good, right? But people want to see awesome things. Nobody wants to see mediocrity, okay? And mediocrity is all around us. I don't really give a rat's ass how many super kicks Jey Uso does when they all look like shit. Even if they look good, I don't care, because I know that Batista would lift this guy over his head and drop him. You know, one thing that I think a lot of people find some consensus on is this understanding that Braun Breaker is probably going to be the guy that gets the next big push. Now, the hater, I like Braun Breaker in the context of what he is, right? But let's be real. He's a guy with little personality. I mean, he's got intensity and he's got a good physique, right? He looks like he can kick your ass, but that's about it. He's not that big. He's closer to a vanilla midget than he is to fucking like, you know, I don't know, an actual wrestler. Like, if you compare him to Batista, like, it's night and day, right? Do you remember when certain people have debuted in wrestling? Well, one of the haters' personal favorite debuts, and I think a lot of people will like this, is Rhino. When Rhino debuted in WWE, this is a throwaway debut, right? As part of the invasion angle. Rhino appears, and he just spears the shit out of somebody. I don't know who it was. Some jabron probably, right? He spears him, and Paul Heyman, who's on commentary, is screaming at the top of his lungs, "Gore! Gore! Gore!" You know, and you're like, oh my God, like, look at this guy. All he did was a spear, but his spear was so badass, right? And he looks so badass that you just believe for a second that his spear has special powers. This is not the spear that Edge does. It's not even the spear that Goldberg does. Hell, it's not even a spear. It's a gore, right? You just see this intensity in Rhino. He's just built like a brick shithouse. He's built like JC Mateo, except bigger, stronger, and less fat. He just looks like he can tear you apart, right? That's what we want. That's what sells. Rhino was like an undercard jobber. Can you imagine if Rhino debuted like next week? Nobody would be fucking talking about Braun Breaker. You think anybody would give a shit about Obafemi if Rhino debuted? And I'm saying Rhino. I'm not even saying Kane. I'm saying Rhino. You know? What I'm getting at here is very simple, right? There has been this taboo that has been perpetuated by dumbasses all around the wrestling community, the internet wrestling community more specifically. And there is this stigma, right? People say things like, oh, Vince only likes big and oily men. Vince likes money. And those people made him a lot of money. Austin Theory could have made him a lot of money. Ilya Dragunov is not going to make him a lot of money. Carmelo Hayes is not going to make him a lot of money. You understand what I'm getting at here? It's all about the money, as Vince would say, right? It's all about the money. It's all about what draws. Vanilla midgets have two problems. Number one, they're obviously small, as indicated by the word midget. And number two, they have boring personalities, or even worse, they completely lack personalities, as evidenced by the word vanilla, right? Ilya Dragunov is an archetypal vanilla midget. This guy has nothing going for him. He's a good wrestler, but nobody gives a shit because his personality is he throws his head at you and then he pretends he's a conductor. That's it. That's what he is. Carmelo Hayes is like this arrogant guy who comes out and loses every match. He has no personality. Neither of these guys can cut an interesting promo. At the very least, if you can't cut an interesting promo, but you look like Snitsky or Heidenreich, you can at the very least be the guy that Batista spinebusters next. It's impressive when John Cena lifts up Umaga or Rikishi. It's impressive when Kane chokeslams Heidenreich. It's impressive when Kane chokeslams Snitsky. It is not impressive if Damian Priest, who is nothing like Kane, who will never be that big of a star, it's not impressive when he chokeslams skinny fat Aleister Black, who is basically a vanilla midget. He might make it just a little bit out because he has some personality, but effectively, he's a vanilla midget. Okay? We are tired of vanilla midgets. Now, it's okay to have a few work rate vanilla midgets because you need that too. You know, wrestling is supposed to appeal to a wide array of audiences. And one of the viable audiences is the technical wrestling audience, right? So that's why wrestling historically has had a Chris Benoit in there. They've had, not Kurt Angle, he's not a vanilla midget at all, but they've had Chris Benoit was considered a vanilla midget. Eddie Guerrero was considered a vanilla midget. Benoit is like 230 pounds of muscle. Eddie Guerrero is like 185 pounds of muscle with personality up the ass. He's not vanilla. He might be a little bit of a midget, but he's a big ass midget, right? Now, the standard is like fucking Carmelo. People are clamoring for Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov. For Gunther. People are saying, oh, I want to see Carmelo Hayes and Gunther for the world title. I want to see Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Kane, where he double chokeslams them both, stacks them, and pins them with one foot. That's what I want to see. For some reason, some of these guys still exist. And some of them are hired. Like you've got people, or you had people, like Braun Breaker, who is now getting his own show where he goes and eats shit, which I'm going to check out because he has some personality and he's an interesting guy. Just to see him like move around compared to normal people, you're like, holy shit, this guy's massive. You have Omos. Nothing came of him. Omos is one of those people that passes the airport test. You walk past Omos, you're like, where the fuck did they find this guy? You know? And what do they do with him? He's a jobber. There's not enough time for Omos because Joe Gacy needs TV time. Just make Omos the black sheep of the Wyatt Six. Give him something to do. How are you going to let this guy go, he can't wrestle? He doesn't know how to do a drop toe hold. Nobody cares. People like Omos, Great Khali, and Big Show don't need to do drop toe holds because their moveset is basically grab you and throw you. That's what it is. That's all he needs to know how to do, and he knows how to do that. So what I'm getting at here, motherfucks, is that we need to purge wrestling of the vanilla midget pandemic. This is getting out of hand. Everyone is a vanilla midget. Or everyone is a mid-sized guy. Now, some of you out there are thinking, hater, Jacob Fatu, even if he is 6'1", he's not a mid-sized guy. He's a bigger guy. Yes, compared to the real world, he's a bigger guy. Compared to the real world, Obafemi is massive. Compared to Kane, Obafemi is a fat bastard. See what I'm saying? Kane is taller, bigger, stronger, and has a better physique. And has more personality. And he was like this once-in-a-while main eventer. So in what world do you expect Obafemi to perform better than Kane? People flood the internet complaining that Booker T was held back by Triple H. And whether you agree or disagree with that, I think most people can agree that Booker T was an awesome wrestler, right? I don't think anybody dislikes Booker T. And despite this, Booker T was a one-time WWE secondary champion. He's like, I mean, obviously, I hate to make this comparison because he's obviously better than Jey Uso, but he's a Jey Uso in terms of qualifications of world titles. I mean, Booker T won a million other things. He was king of the ring. Booker T is just a legend, right? But Booker T won one world title, and people look at fucking Trick Williams, a Booker T ripoff by his own admission, and they expect him to have a better career than Booker T, despite having less charisma. Like, Booker T has more charisma in the pinky that he would raise than fucking Trick Williams, his entire family has. And you expect him to be a star? Not a midget. I will give him that. He can be in that role, in that Baron Corbin role. No problem. But we need to raise our standards for what is acceptable in terms of stars, in terms of championships, and champions, I should say, and also, to a lesser degree, in terms of what is presentable, what is acceptable to present. You look at Duke Hudson, and you're like, what the fuck is this guy? You have Omos in this roster. Why is Duke Hudson getting any TV time? That Parker Boudreaux guy, remember him? He was Joe Gacy's like heavy. Why is that guy not signed immediately? Put that guy and fire Duke Hudson. His gimmick can just be he walks around doing nothing. That's more interesting than Duke Hudson. That's more interesting than Ilya Dragunov. That's more interesting than everyone in NXT. Because he looks the part. The visual appeal is a big part of it. Just like the charisma is a big part of it. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody. Like if I tell you about one of the best soccer players of all time, Raul, or I tell you about Sergio Aguero, or even Luis Suarez, and most of you are going to be like, who the fuck are those guys? Even though all three, especially Suarez, are bona fide legends who played for top clubs. Soccer fans would know them, right? But when I tell you, hey, you know Cristiano Ronaldo? You know David Beckham? Who are fashion and modeling icons? Yes, you do. Raul is 10 times better than Beckham. But nobody gives a shit because the presentation is more important. That's how it works, cucks. Speaking of soccer, remember James from Colombia? This guy is like a pretty good player, but nothing crazy. He has one good World Cup, but he's a good-looking kid. He gets signed by Real Madrid. This is how it works. Your heroes have to be heroes to more than just you. Daniel Bryan is a hero to 5 people. To the rest of us, he's a pissant who's taking up the spot from someone better. Dolph Ziggler is a vanilla midget. I know people like him, but he is a vanilla midget. He's too small to be a believable world heavyweight champion of anything, and he has no personality. His personality is gyrating his hips, taking his hair and flicking it, and saying, I'm here to show the world. No, that is not sufficient. The bare minimum of a star needs to have the physique of like a Randy Orton, or maybe you can settle for like a Trick Williams. Now some of you are thinking, hater, what are you talking about? Trick Williams might have the best physique in WWE. I agree. That should still be the minimum. The fact that Trick Williams is there and it just so happens that Andrade was around too, and Berto is around, doesn't mean that they're acceptable as well. The minimum needs to be excellence, because that's what you're selling with wrestling. The minimum needs to be someone like that. There is room for other body types that fit other paradigms, but the minimum for world champion needs to be that, or some exceptional exception. Some exceptional scenario, like Big Show doesn't have that physique, but he's 7 foot, 500 pounds. The Undertaker player doesn't have, well, he has a pretty good physique, but when he was in his prime, but he's a big, strong guy with great personality. Rey Mysterio, obviously, doesn't have the physique of Trick Williams, but he's Rey Mysterio. See what I'm saying? And quite frankly, if you look at the physique of Eddie Guerrero, it's comparable to the physique of Trick Williams and Randy Orton. He's not as tall, right? But he has the muscles. Like, is it a coincidence that the best luchador of all time, Rey Mysterio, is also the luchador with the best physique of all time? It is not a coincidence. I cannot get behind Rey Mysterio barely becoming WWE champion a couple of times, even though he is a bona fide legend and the face of an entire industry of lucha libre. And then you tell me that Rey Fenix, who is my second favorite, maybe of all time, mass wrestler, he is so far apart, right? From Rey Mysterio. There is no excellence. Excellence sells. Mediocrity does fuck all. And that's how we roll in this bitch. You cannot present boring ass jabrones and then try to convince me that these guys are somehow special. I have eyes. I can see feats of strength. Mark Henry picking up Big Show and world's strongest slamming him through a table is something you can proudly show your friends and family to say that you're a wrestling fan. Because they can say it's fake. And you can say, oh, is it? Well, they have one of the world's strongest men of all time. And then someone will say, nah, that's fake. He's not really one of the world's strongest men. Then you show them Mark Henry in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, picking up Big Show, motherfucks. Picking up Big Show, who you don't need to measure him with a fucking scale. You can look at Big Show, you can just tell. This is not a man that is meant to be picked up. And he picks him up effortlessly and then lifts him up almost over his head and world's strongest slams him through a table. No one person in the world is going to see that and not be impressed. They're all going to be like, holy shit, who is this guy? Is the next thing they're going to say. Who is the guy that he slammed and who is the guy that's doing the slamming? If you show someone Johnny Gargano, if you show someone the best thing that Gargano has ever done in wrestling, they're going to be like, yeah, it's fake and it's fucking stupid. That is the problem. If you show someone doing a Carmelo Hayes move, they're going to be like, this move is stupid, right? It's fun for us who like wrestling, but it's stupid to the average fan. The average fan switching the channel or walking around on streams or thinking about clicking a YouTube thumbnail that has Carmelo Hayes is going to be like, I don't give a shit. Who the fuck's this guy? Is it I Show Speed? Right? That's what they're going to think because he looks like a regular guy. But when they see Kane, even without the mask, but imagine with the mask, you're like, who is this fucking cartoon character brought to life? They're going to click immediately. You show them Lashley, they're going to click immediately. You show them Mark Henry, they're probably not going to click. Or you show them Mark Henry doing the World's Strongest Slam to Big Show, everyone's clicking. Every person is clicking on that. And that's the problem, cucks. Now, they're like, oh, well, we don't have that. We do have Aleister Black. Nobody gives a shit. We have Jacob Fatu. Nobody gives a shit. Oh, Zilla Fatu is coming up. Maybe he can join the MFTs. Maybe. Who gives a fuck? He's like the same height as Enzo. You know what I'm saying? He's just like Enzo, but fat. They're like, oh, this guy's the future. No, he's not. This guy's got Bull Dempsey written all over him. Fuck out of here, man. You know? Nowadays, we are going down the drain. And it's time to accept defeat, jobbers. It's time to accept defeat, neckbeards. Your experiment is leading to the death of something. You've ruined it. Time to fix it. Fix it, Triple H. Or honestly, fix it, Vince McMahon. Find a way back, cuck. With that being said, go fuck yourselves.